So our 15-minute timer just went off, so we're back. Purpose of needing any of the next phase of making your dough is getting gluten development. That's basically creating enough strength in your dough that it'll hold its shape and rise. So if we look at this, it still falls apart when you start stretching it. Alright, the gluten is not developed yet. If we look at this other dough that I made earlier, I take my finger and I start stretching it. I can get thinner and thinner and thinner. And if I had both hands, I'd probably be able to get it to the point where you could see through. This dough is actually also not quite finished, so it's not fully developed either. That's why it started tearing right at the end. However, you can see a lot more stretch in that product than what we have right here. Other thing to notice is when you put your fingers on there, that's what happens. The stickiness of the dough. If you knead the dough, that's what you have to deal with. And a lot of times people advocate putting flour on the table or all these various things to make it easier. But if you just meticulously weighed out all your ingredients, you've now changed that by adding all this flour. So one other thing to observe, when you put your hands in water, get them a little bit wet, just a little bit, and do the same thing, you can see how easy my fingers come away from the dough. It doesn't stick. So I will get my hand a little wet, and I'm going to pat that dough down on the top. I'm going to take my scraper and I'm going to scrape around the edge of the bowl, again trying to keep the bowl in the frame. And then I'm going to dump it out on the counter just like that. It helps to have two hands for this, but we'll do our best. Slapping it down, flopping over, gathering it back up, slapping it down, stretching a little bit, flopping over. Right? Grabbing it back up, slapping it down, flopping it over. Get your hands re-moistened if you need. So you can see it's starting to get a little smoother across the top. We're going to do it one more time. Stretch and flop. Kind of reform it into a ball. Now if you remember what it looked like when we first started the camera and we look at it now, it's a little bit smoother. It's a little bit more incorporated. It's got a little more stretch. We're going to pause here. Going to put it back in the bowl. Cover it back. And wait 15 more minutes. And then we'll repeat that process. That's a slap and fold. So that's our first slap and fold. And we'll do a total of 3.